20 minutes later.
I've only asked one question, and you've yet to answer it.
Question? Oh, you mean when can I start?
Would you like a tour?
Yes, I would.
Right this way.
Very much like Zeke's office, the place was clean. Immaculate, really.
I don't like what you're wearing.
Wildly barbaric, not to mention sexist. That should have been her first reaction, but it wasn't. Sage was offended, and that ugly emotion blinded her momentarily to the obvious inappropriateness of the statement. A white silk blouse beneath a mauve blazer that matched her mauve pencil skirt and nylons. Conservative. Classy. I beg your pardon?
Makes me uncomfortable.
I make you uncomfortable?
Not you. Your attire.
Anger boiled. Good and deep. I'll have you know, this outfit was designed by the world-renowned Frederick Lawson. It's a $5,000 suit. Knockoffs are sold in department stores all over the country.
Your point?
Businesswomen from all over the world are wearing fashion similar to this. This is the norm.
I'm not hiring other women from around the world.
I don't see what's wrong with dressing fashionable for a job interview.
As I said, makes me uncomfortable.
And what do you suggest as an alternative? This should be good.
Anything but that.
Cue uncomfortable silence.
Hey, Frank. Good morning.
Yep.
As silent as a heavy equipment factory could be. Well, well. Never had she imagined Zeke could be so high-minded. He just seemed so nice. How the hell would she know how he should seem? This was the first time she'd met him. A 60-something grizzly and somewhat round man waved from behind some kind of machine that looked like a giant ironing board. Turned a corner into another large room. An industrial paint booth could be seen to the far left.
I do like the shoes.
Well, that was something, she supposed. Not a big proponent of equal rights?
To the contrary, I much prefer you wear jeans and tennis shoes. It's not a sexist thing.
Phew, what a relief.
It's not...
Yes?
It's not who you really are. Not really.
How do you know what's me and what's not me? You couldn't even be bothered to interview me. Not one question.
This bothers you. Why? And I did ask you a question. I asked when you could start.
I should think you'd want to know something more about your employee. It only seems normal.
That's the second time you've mentioned normal. Big fan, are you, of normal?
Actually, no. It's just that...
I don't like labels. Most notably, normal.
Marry me? Being not normal had always been a mainstay for Sage. Much more freeing. Once you stop caring what others think, it's a very liberating feeling. A euphoria, really. Nothing great ever came from any semblance of normalcy.
I was out of line. I shouldn't have commented on your looks.
Then why did you?
I can fake social norms, be civil in situations that don't really allow for civility, etc. But only when it comes to business. You working for me isn't business. It's personal. so I'm having a difficult time keeping my socially awkward self in check.
Personal?
Please, don't misunderstand. Yes, our relationship will be born of professionalism. But as my assistant, your passion and drive should rival my own. These are personal traits, thereby making our relationship personal.
A bit of a stretch, but she'd go with it.
And we will be working closely together. There'll be many long nights. I, of course, will cover dinner expenses. I hope you like sushi.
Sage resisted the urge to yip like a schoolgirl. She smiled, simply nodded.
Good. I keep the refrigerator stocked with maki, tamaki, uramaki, sashimi, and nigiri. There's also baked tofu crisps and seaweed wraps.
To drink?
Soy vanilla milk and assorted organic juices. Pomegranate blueberry is especially flavorful.
What? No wine? A teasing smile. Zeke's head tilted slightly, his expression stoic. I'm kidding, of course. I would never drink on
Tenuta elderberry.
Tenuta Hills?
Back in the office, I have a refrigerator. 15 bottles. Second shelf, stacked 3 high.
It was her drink. Her only drink. When the situation allowed, which wasn't very often. The winery was situated in the hills of northern Italy, a remote town called Tenuta Hills. Only 500 bottles a year were produced. Sage, even with her father's connections, never managed to score more than 3 of those 500 bottles. You have 15 bottles of Tenuta?
I do.
Heat flushed her face. A special kind of jitters vibrated to her core. Swooning? Yes, she was literally swooning. She felt nervous. On the spot, she glanced around, looking to see if factory workers were staring at them. But nobody was staring, and she had no clue as to why she expected them to. I don't know what to say. I mean, did you know that this was a favorite of mine?
I do.
Okay, a little unnerving, considering that they've never met before today. He was a stranger, or so she thought. How did you know? Zeke put a hand to the small of her back. Gently, he ushered her forward.
Let's talk and walk.
She wasn't even aware she had stopped walking. His subtle touch felt so natural, so comfortable, a warming sensation that made her feel safe, a pure and innocent essence like that of a beloved childhood. A crackling fireplace, a dimly lit Christmas tree, and the perfume of dozens of poinsettias.
Just wanted to know who you really were, before offering you the position. So I did a little digging into your background.
My personal background?
Indeed.
I should be...
Curious? Probably.
But I'm not. A hand lifted, coming to rest on her collarbone. Long, warm fingers slid around the front. Downward, stopping shy of the low-cut V of her silk blouse. Sage swallowed. Oh my God, he was flirting. Breathe. Breathe. No. Hell no. She couldn't do this. Not again. Sleeping with her professor had turned disastrous. Sleeping with her boss? Rather, potential boss. Fuck it. Might as well admit it. She was taking the job, and she knew it. She might even fuck him, and she knew it. What's wrong with the way I'm dressed? The question blurted from somewhere unknown and definitely unexpected.
I don't trust people who dress in costume.
anger rose, and the intense sexual tension of the moment splintered, replaced with disappointment and scorn. It's not a costume. It is a widely accepted and preferred style of dress for the modern businesswoman.
I've heard the outfit's resume. Quite impressive. But it doesn't change the fact that it masks who you really are. I don't trust people who hide their true self. It's a form of deception, paramount to lying.
Sage's stomach growled so loud she wondered if he'd heard it. She ignored the gnawing in her belly. You think I'm being deceptive? The question should have been accusatory and snide, but it was soft and pathetic. His stoic, slightly angered expression softened.
Why did you apply for this position?
Why did you offer me the job?
You're qualified.
That simple?
Indeed.
I'm sure lots of people would qualify for the job. Why me?
Because there's a lot more to you than I expected.
Zeke reached into the breast pocket of his shirt. He slid a stack of 3x5 photographs out, fanned them out for her to see. The photos were of Sage. Last year, she spent 3 months in the Dominican Republic handing out treated bed nets to help reduce outbreaks of malaria. She snatched the photos from Zeke, flipped through them. More photos of her. This time she was in Ethiopia, helping to rebuild a village which had been ravaged by a wildfire, spawned by an 8-day heat wave. All of her volunteering had been kept secret, or so she thought. But seeing as she was a Moreau and a celebrity of sorts, she probably was naive to think that she could keep her life private. Zeke pointed to her in one of the photographs.
You were wearing a tee and jeans.
Which was appropriate attire for the situation. Jeans and tee are not appropriate now. Here, for a job interview. She flipped through more photos. Sage at work behind the bar, pouring drinks, making change, and wiping down a sticky gin bottle. He pointed to a particular photo.
A more preferred look of style. Black fishnet shirt, spike heel thigh-high boots, leather miniskirt, black mascara, black eyeliner, and black lipstick. Again,
Appropriate attire considering the locale and situation.
so what does Sage wear when she's not dressing for the locale and situation?
You tell me. Seems you already know who I am.
That upsets you.
Hello? Monica Seles? Rebecca Schaefer? A famous athlete and actress that had recently been attacked by a crazed admirer.
You think I'm stalking you?
Are you?
Do you know what we do here?
Of course.
Government requires me to run background checks on all our employees.
I'm not your employee. Yet. And researching my favorite wine is hardly warranted. Right there, smack dead in the center of an active and loud factory, Zeke put his lips to hers. Slow, frustratingly tender. A rush of breath from somewhere deep, a hiccup of emotion, of lust, nose to nose, lips a breath apart. A whisper.
Why are you here?
Damn it. Shit. What was the question? Because, well,
Why do you want this job?
I don't know.
Lie.
Sage straightened, putting distance between them. So I'm deceptive and a liar?
Why?
A seesaw of lust and anger. Just moments ago, sexual tension cradled them like a silken wind. Now, no cradling, no silk, no wind, no movement, no nothing. Head spinning, the ache in her heart grinding. Pain, confusion, looking down, unable to make eye contact. Sage removed her hard hat. She offered it to Zeke. Good luck in finding an adequate candidate for the job. Furious, Sage turned away without looking up, never letting her gaze meet his. An overwhelming feeling of what? Whatever this was, this feeling of uneasiness, of awkward, hot as hell desire, shook her, mind, body, and soul. Nothing like this had ever happened to her before. Get a grip! Jesus! She walked on shaky legs, back the way they'd come. She didn't want to leave. Sage wanted the job. She wanted to work with him. Turn around, idiot! Take the damn job! She glanced over her shoulder and found him staring at her.
Lie.
I don't know! Couldn't tell him the truth, could she? Yes, she could. Location! Size! Potential! Her voice boomed across the factory and amidst two onlookers standing idly by, quietly humming machinery. It hit her. His family had as much money, if not more, as her family. People who'd been fortunate enough to be born into wealth either turned out pompous or they turned out contemplative. If money wasn't a motivator, then what?
Why?
Fuck you! Richly immature. Her hands jolted upward, an exaggerated gesture of what the fuck? I want to change the world! He launched into a sprint. His long black hair fluttered haphazardly with each harsh step. She debated running the opposite direction, but couldn't make her feet move. For that matter, she couldn't tear her gaze from his. He was beautiful. No other way to put it. Complexion smooth yet pale, a boyish charm, and a sexy as hell demeanor, rebellesque/eccentric artist. And then there was his prominent Adam's apple, which was anything but boyish. Always been a weakness for her.
How are you going to change the world? I really want to know.
Artificial organs.
A science that was born almost 100 years ago, not exactly revolutionary.
And how have we progressed in the last century?
Baby steps.
Exactly.
I'll say again, we make gadgets for dashboards. How exactly does Chase Industries fit this highly ambitious and somewhat unrealistic, not to mention impractical, life goal?
It doesn't.
Then what are we doing here, Sage?
I was in a bad relationship. He didn't want it to end, and I did.
Truth.
Days after our breakup, I ran into him at the grocery store, then at the movies, then at the dry cleaners. Well, you get the point. Probably overreacting, but I had to get out of town, put some distance between us.
And what about your dreams of changing the world, one artificial organ at a time? How does Chase Industries fit?
Before her crush on Zeke, before her affair with her professor, before her dad had a stroke, she'd had a whole other plan. Stasis Biotech is one of the top engineering companies for medical devices. I've always wanted to work for them.
They're in New York.
Yes, they are, but I can't leave right now. My dad had a stroke about 6 months ago, got some paralysis, not dealing well.
Truth.
She found herself staring at his mouth. Her gaze moved to his eyes. Zeke's hand lifted. A thumb brushed across the apple of her cheek. An intimate touch. Almost more intimate than his torturing, lingering kiss. Almost.
So Chase Industries is just a pit stop? A woman's shelter of sorts?
She waited for him to lower his hand from her face before responding. I'm not hiding, if that's what you're insinuating. He He stepped back, straightening, collecting himself. An obvious effort for a pinch of professionalism. Offered his hand.
Congratulations. The job is yours.
She looked at his hand, looked at his face, and realized she had just been interviewed. Damn it. Head swimming in a thick cloud of lust and euphoria, she absently reached to shake his offered hand. A professional gesture meant as an acceptance of the position. But it felt nothing close to professional. A firm but gentle grasp of her hand. A slow tightening.
Ready to continue the tour?
Yes, I am.
Truth.